Yeah, I'm good to go.
Beautiful. We're also good to go on the stream.
Okay, let's do it. So hey everyone, welcome back to the Interchain Lab. This episode's a little going to be a little different than some of the ones that we've done in the past. Because as Tog just mentioned, we are going to be talking about ourselves today, to an extent. Today we're going to be talking about the Osmosis Support Lab, and this show is sort of hosted by the OSL. So in that sense, we're going to kind of be talking about ourselves, but um, that's only just obviously a very very small part of what the OSL does. And that's the reason that we're here today, is to just kind of do almost a town hall type format, so to speak. We'll chat a little bit about what we've been up to, um, and our plans, moving forward into this next proposal cycle, which should be coming up here pretty soon. Yeah, very soon. Working on the proposal text now. So again, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm Robo, and I'm joined by a couple other people who I will let introduce themselves.
Hey guys, I go by Water Spinner. I work with the OSL. I do some chat modding on Telegram and Discord, and now we're also transitioning into a little bit more tooling and whatnot, and we'll have a little bit more to talk on that later.
Yeah, I'm Tog. I also work with the OSL, clearly. I'm also one of the regular hosts here. I help Mad Cat out, who is in chat somewhere, with general community engagement things. I also tend to float between the Telegram and Discord teams because I'm also helping with the infrastructure and tooling type things. I'm kind of everywhere. Um, but yeah, I think I wouldn't have it any other way.
Hey all, I'm Mike. I've been with the Osmosis Support Lab since around like October 2021. Right now, one of my core functions is handling the accounting and the transparency for the OSL. And I'm going to present on the upcoming budget a little later in this call.
Great, yeah, and just to kind of expand, I'm Robo. I'm often here helping out in the Discord side of things. I'm also running the OSL's blog, Osmosis Community Updates, and I've kind of been helping lead the Crew 3 campaign for Osmosis as well. So doing a lot more community engagement related things these days. But yeah, so I think it'd be good to just kind of jump into it. If at any time anyone wants to come up and speak, or ask a question, you can either raise your hand, ask to speak up here on chat, or there's a voice chat going on that you can access just by clicking the chat bubble next to the auditorium channel on your sidebar.
Yeah.
So a little background for folks that don't know, the Osmosis Support Lab is a community-led, community-funded initiative that helps with community support and engagement for basically all types of Osmosis users. Everyone that touches Osmosis in some way has probably had some sort of interaction with us. And that could be Osmosis end users, Osmosis validators, node operators, and even the core Osmosis contributors, like the developers or some of the other working groups like Osmosis Grants. We also very frequently find ourselves helping other people from other ecosystems, just because Osmosis is sort of the center of the ecosystem, and we get people from all over the place because they trying to get from Osmosis to somewhere else, or get from somewhere else to Osmosis.
Yeah. That's a good. Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that we've done in this most recent quarter, it's been what I would consider to be, one of our biggest quarters potentially ever in terms of expanding the scope of the work that we do. We've expanded a lot into community operations to help engage and bring people in during the bear market, as well as a lot of really cool public goods and infrastructure tooling for the Osmosis community, which I'll let Todd kind of dive into that here in a little later. But just kind of touching briefly on some of the support things that we do, because that is and remains our core function. Some of the things that we'll do for like, I know I've kind of touched a bit on the end user aspect of things. We'll help people having issues with IBC transfers, people that are struggling to use the DEX for the first time. We have essentially, helped build and we maintain the support website for Osmosis at support.osmosis.zone, where you can find answers to frequently asked questions, instructional guides, and a 24/7 live chat, support chat that will connect you with a member of the OSL. Basically, regardless of your time zone, any time of day, you hop on that website and you'll get connected with a real person to answer your questions. And really quick, I'm going to pull up the support link website just in case anyone doesn't. Okay, you guys beat me to it.
I'll delete that.
Oh.
I'll take mine off. There we go.
Well, you guys have been hearing me ramble for a minute. Does somebody else want to kind of pick up for a minute?
I mean, I can. So the support website is actually really important to us. If you didn't realize, we really take pride in the fact that as of this quarter, we actually have pretty much full control over the content and what happens on that support site, which is great. Which means we can publish articles as people come up and ask questions. We notice that a fair amount of similar questions come up. So what we do is we like to take those questions and then actually turn them into support articles in the library that we have on support.osmosis.zone. Two of our support lab members, Max Power, or I think he's Cordist in Discord, and Rose, one of our mainly Telegram folks. She and him write these articles up, and it's been really interesting seeing them work. Our artist also creates the wonderful graphics and images that you see on that website. And it's a really fun and collaborative process. So that's just one thing that we actively try and do that is pretty much a mini support arm, besides running, the support tickets both in Discord and we are using a support ticketing system on the support.osmosis.zone site, which is primarily staffed by our Telegram admins and support help. We all kind of take on a lot of multiple roles as the support lab has kind of consolidated down from Robo. Do you have off the top of your head a max staff at one point?
Yeah, I believe. Actually, Mike would probably be the best person to answer that. But I think I do have the numbers offhand. If I remember right, at the peak of the bull market when activity was essentially the largest, we had a staff of, I want to say 28 people. And since the bear market, we've made several cuts to that, both in not only the number of staff, but in the pay for the staff, to scale down operations with the bear market. And so currently we're down to, and correct me if I'm wrong, 17 admins.
17 just on 17 that are dedicated to support chat duties in general.
Yeah, kind of a mix. Yeah, kind of a mix. A little more on Telegram, but a mix between Telegram, Discord,
Yeah.
and Reddit.
Yeah. We're down
Yeah,
to not that much anymore.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd say I want to say 17 admins plus
Mhm.
a staff artist for a total of 18 people. Um, so it's, you know,
It's 21, because we have the content
Mhm.
managers also.
Yeah.
We account for those differently, but yeah, I think you were right on that 28 number. I was trying to count them out, but it's 28 down to around 21. But that's also counting the OSL multi-signers that are no longer that were a part of that as well. So the number came down quite a bit.
Yeah, we're doing, we have less people and we're doing more and we're somehow managing, which is kind of interesting. Because we, like Robo said earlier, we've really tried to expand on our efforts this quarter on what we're doing to provide service to the community, beyond absorbing the OMM, which is where I originally was hired. We have also taken on a whole bunch of tooling and general support relaying in that space, which is kind of mind boggling to think about how much we've already done. um,
yeah, and I think this might be a good time to kind of jump into that to give a little context. And I can start with the some of the community things that we've done because Todd kind of queued it up there pretty nicely. So um, at the end of basically like 3 months ago, the Osmosis Ministry of Marketing had most of its functions and roles sort of I guess obviated by the Osmosis Foundation hiring Serotonin to do like marketing and PR things. So they made the decision to disband and return their funds to the community pool. But there were a couple of really valuable community operations that weren't being accounted for as part of that. And we took steps to ensure that those measures sort of stayed alive, right? One of those is the Osmosis Community Updates blog, which Tog shared a link for that just above. This is one of I would say, one of the more prominent sources of osmosis related information. Currently, and it's entirely a community run blog. We source writers from the community, and we welcome guest articles from essentially projects that are looking to expand their reach, or just anything like that. People that are in need of some help with raising awareness about the osmosis ecosystem. So we have recurring, regular weekly articles that discuss things like new project listings, and major chain upgrades is a pretty popular article. We have updates from the lab recaps that are posted, as well as recaps from this show, the Interchain Lab. We also regularly host articles from groups like Flipside, who are always trying to get more information out there about the kind of metrics and data reporting that they're doing. A few of our articles have actually been featured in crypto news sources as kind of sources of truth on certain things, like chain upgrades and what they mean for the future of osmosis. Another one of these community measures is we work. Sorry, I got a little notification that kind of threw me off there for a minute, but um, we we have started the Osmosis Crew 3 campaign, and that's been pretty widely effective. It's actually, we've seen an increase in social activity by quite a bit. I believe it increased the Osmosis Discord server membership by like something like 7% overnight, and that's maintained relatively consistent we frequently have a new user retention rate of over 20% in the Discord, which is the kind of the benchmark rate. And I, as far as community things go, the last item I kind of want to highlight is the Osmosis community updates Twitter account, which is also another great source of information on Twitter that if you're not following, you definitely should, because there's a lot of good information coming out of that account usually.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. I do want to take a reminder for anyone who's joined us. You can actually join in the voice chat if you want to ask questions in the voice chat, or you can go ahead and raise your hand if you want to ask a question live. This is an open forum, roundtable type discussion. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. We will talk. We already have talking points, such as, Water Spinner wants to talk about some tooling, I think, that we have done as part of our goals throughout this particular quarter and beyond.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about how last proposal we did state that we had some tooling ideas that we were going to start developing and building, and we actually do have a good bit of things to show for that right now. One of those, the main thing that we have is a dedicated RPC infrastructure. So we have an OSL RPC that you can interact with the chain, query on-chain blocks, whatever you need to do. We have that at 100% uptime as of right now. Another big thing that we've been doing is relaying. So the OSL has been consistently in the top 5 active relayers by 24-hour packets relayed. So just in the last 30 days, we've done over 15,000 transactions. We do relaying on 24/7 relaying on Osmo, Mars, Evmos, Stars, Atom, Axel, Mediblock, plenty more to come. A big thing that we've also done with the relaying is to really go along with support, and that kind of the main goal there for end users is we've built a front end where the user can go and clear a stuck packet himself instead of having to go and find a relayer or get in contact with someone that is actually on that channel. We can direct you to a website that I will go ahead and paste that.
We already got
Thank you, Todd. Yeah. So you can go in there as a user and clear it out as you please. I will say this is a rudimentary design right now. It will definitely get updated and keep going forward. But as of right now, it does the job. What we need to get done.
Yeah, and that's like I think a really cool kind of feature to highlight for a second is like the way that this support flow used to go is if like an IBC channel would go down, the OSL would have we'd be the first ones to hear about it, because people would be experiencing issues, right? And we would effectively have to go hunt down whoever was relaying on that channel, let them know the relayer was down or the relayer wallet was out of funds or something. And then wait for them to refill those funds and then relay the packets. But what we're pushing towards now is just kind of cutting out the middleman, so to speak. So when we get reports like this, we can just relay those packets ourselves. And ideally, in a perfect world with this new site, just kind of have them relay it themselves.
Right, and I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's and a further extension of the OSL relaying capabilities, right? You're using the OSL relayer to clear these packets. So we're going an extra step further to make sure that we're on channels that might not be monitored that much. We're going to make an effort to be on those channels and be able to clear that stuff for you guys. And now I guess we'll talk a little bit also about an alternative osmosis front end that we are putting together. Things are in place. We need, the proposal needs to pass. There will be a web dev for more development on that site. But it's coming together right now, and that'll just be another another place for users to go if one of the RPCs or something happens onto the main site, you can still go to the alternative and interact with whatever pools and things like that you wanted to mess with. And then one of the big things that I'm very excited about this because everyone that has been in Osmosis for a little bit knows that governance fatigue is a real thing, and we need to continue pushing out new proposals and for the betterment of the chain and the ecosystem. But it's a little bit fatiguing to read through all that sometimes. So we will be coming out with a governance Twitter bot that will kind of give you a TLDR on all of those governance proposals. Kind of if you vote yes, this happens. If you vote no, this happens. These are the causes and effects. We're going to try to give positive and negative for both sides, so that we're not just we don't want to just push one thing or the other. We want the community to decide.
Yeah.
So
I want to take a moment and actually talk about the alternative front end, because it's honestly a little bit of it's kind of a little bit of my own baby, in the fact that I'm going to be helping with the design, along with our in-house artist who does amazing work. I'm about to post a picture of a early design. It is not reflective of what the design is actually going to be moving forward. However, it's something to look forward to. If you look in the text chat and open up the screenshot in full screen, you see that currently the design is very much almost a carbon copy of what the Osmosis front end is. However, we are using already built tools such as Cosmos Kit from Dan Lynch and Pyromation, Cosmology, Osmosis, Osmo.js. We're already using pre-built tools that are already there to help um, create these things and iterate faster. Where we need a web dev is I can make things look pretty all day. I know my limits and I stay within it. Making sure all of the things do the things on the back end, like create the transactions and stuff, that's what I needed help with. So we are waiting on the proposal to pass and to go through, but that is something that we're budgeting for and something we hope is going to be a really great asset. Along with this, we are going to be interlinking as much as we can, both, it just works oc.osl.zone, this alternative front end with, a swap card, pools, pages, etc., as well as coming soon to that OSL source of truth would be a dashboard with various metrics and KPIs, and to slightly transition into actually before that, Coldy, pre-design, early design. If you can find the one with the top bar, go right ahead. But I could only find that one saved on my hard drive right now. To slightly move into metrics, I wanted to share, if it's all right with everyone else, really quickly, what metrics that we've gathered. I know that last week or the week before we posted some metrics from the OSL Twitter, but those metrics have changed since then, and it's kind of mind-boggling to think about. So over the last 30 days, the OSL relaying team has been able to relay over 15,000 transactions successfully, which is absolutely mind-boggling. The most of them are happening on Osmosis. However, like we said, we do have 24/7 relaying up for these chain connections: Osmosis to Mars and back, Osmosis and Evmos, Osmosis and Stars, Osmosis and Cosmos Hub, Osmosis and Axelar, and what's really interesting is Osmosis and Mediblock. And Robo, do you want to mention why I find Mediblock really interesting that we are putting as a 24/7 relaying operation for us?
Yeah, so The Osmosis Metablock connection is actually a little bit more active than I personally thought it was going to be. But it definitely, like, it gets a lot of transactions, but it's one of the more underserved channels. Looks like apart from us, there's only one other entity relaying on that channel. So if that channel goes down, or if that other one relayer goes down, you lose ability to transfer any funds on that channel. So and that's actually like pretty significant. The weekly transferred value on that channel is over $250,000. So it's kind of important to keep that one flowing.
Right.
It may not seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it definitely contributes to some volume to Osmosis and benefits the Osmosis community. So this is kind of one like minor channel that's pretty important to have consistent uptime with.
And that's the thing, is there's a lot of things that we discovered, that the OSL discovered, that we could do as a group, just simply by the mere fact of, asking each other what what are we good at, what do we want to learn. We're very fortunate to have the RPC and API help and knowledge gained from our friends at Interblock, and their team has been essential in helping teach us how to essentially keep these things running, which is great. And just big shout out to everyone who's doing infra work, that dedicates themselves to doing infra work. We have OSL members who have Android phones that have downloaded a terminal app, so that way they can help clear channels while they're on the go. Not something we asked them, it's just something they wanted to do and prove that they could do, which is absolutely great. And I do want to quickly mention, I know that I'm going to step into Robo's territory a little bit, but some blog facts is over 15,000 minutes read, over 12,000 regular views, and on average, almost 120 visitors per day over the last 90 days, which is kind of wild. Discord new member retention is consistently over 20%, which is actually the benchmark rate for Discord itself. We have had over the last 90 days over 550 support tickets from the support site, with an average close time of around 36 minutes. And generally, a lot of that time on chat is spent just investigating for who's the person who's coming to ask, and or
Yes.
needing to translate, because we don't just get English requests. We do get folks who can only speak their native language, and we are doing our best to help them as well. And to mention, over 200, about 220 tickets in Discord as well for the last 90 days. And because of the Crew 3 and everything, we have gained almost 3,000 new followers on the OCC Twitter, which is a 90% increase over the last quarter. So we're doing our best to not only talk about ourselves better, especially in this coming proposal period. Something that I will say out loud is the entire OSL wants to do better about ensuring that there is a singular source of truth for the community to go to check on the KPIs that we say that we're holding ourselves to, because it's important that everyone can see those, including ourselves.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to add to those numbers is just that I wanted to try to see the impact of Crew 3 on the Osmosis official Twitter. But the problem is the day that we launched it was also the day that they started running the Bankless ad. So it's basically
Whoops.
impossible for me to determine. Like, there was a huge spike that day, but it's really hard for me to tell what was, you know, what was related to Crew 3 and what was related to Bankless. I would imagine most of it was related to Bankless, but probably, the similar numbers that we got to like the Discord engagement or the OCC Twitter engagement of like 2,800 followers, I would probably attribute to the main site as well.
Francois, to answer your question, I have a really funny story, and I hope Ark doesn't mind me telling it.
I
You know
was just
exactly
about
the
to bring
one
that
I'm
up.
talking about,
Yeah,
right?
I was just about to bring that up. Go ahead.
So Ark, also known as Osmosis, you may see him mostly on Reddit and in Telegram. He does stop into Discord every once in a while to help out as well. But he was helping somebody on the support widget who was very, very French. Very, 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 very French. And we got through it. It's kind of funny to us because of, internally we like to share how we're helping how we're helping osmosis the osmosis community, and it was just one of those really funny stories that just makes you giggle, but we were able to help them after a couple hours. I think, because there was
Yeah,
a lot of weird things that happened. Because let's be real, in this ecosystem, strange things can happen, especially when it comes to IBC assets around to different chains multiple times
yeah,
manually.
getting it. Yeah, having one IBC asset, IBC transfer to another chain without going back to the native chain is a no-go.
Yeah, it's and we're working on making it easier. We're always talking about how can we make the community's lives easier in interacting with Osmosis as a blockchain. And to be honest, what we talk about here on the Interchain Lab is how can we expose more of the Osmosis community to the rest of the Interchain, which in turn also brings questions back to us on how to use the rest of the Interchain. Just because of how Osmosis has situated themselves as the hub for interchain liquidity. And before we get into Mike and the costs and the reality of our expenditure on the community pool, does anyone else have any questions? Anyone else want to come up and say something, ask a question, wondering what one person in particular does? We can answer the best to our ability. We can also, it's an open forum. We like to answer questions. It's why we're in the support lab. And the
And
sound
while we're waiting,
of silence.
yeah, don't all jump up at once. But while we're waiting to see if anyone wants to come up with a question, I wonder if this might be a good time to drop some alpha.
Oh, alpha dropping is always great. Our community literally lives for alpha.
Do you wanna talk Aussies or?
Oh, okay. This is another baby of mine. So, we are currently planning and getting the final steps made of a NFT collection. The OSL is creating a Aussie NFT collection. I have to find one of the rejected ones. So if someone wants to talk about what our plans are, I'm going to find one of the images really quickly.
Yeah. So this all kind of started with a conversation about like making sure that we're contributing value to the community and kind of giving back to the osmosis community themselves. And essentially what we settled on is kind of this really, really cool, and I hope Tog finds a good concept art picture of what we're working on, but
I will.
this
Don't worry.
NFT mint project that will do kind of a limited mint of this, and essentially all proceeds from that mint, which we're still kind of working out, will flow back to the osmosis community pool. But in addition to that, the NFTs themselves that aren't minted out will constantly be like the the subject of giveaways and just, ways to get the community more involved in education and, just general like engagement activity. This is something that we're really excited about, and I just want to, we want to make sure we get it right. So it's taken a little time, but it's a really, really cool, cool project. Yeah.
And I have to give all credit to our wonderful artist. And we are actually, Marlon makes a great point. So we're looking at a whole bunch of different ways. We would like the osmosis community to benefit. Obviously, that's why we're here. And so we're asking folks like Marlon, who are very prominent in the NFT community on Stargaze, and also probably one of the best people who's outspoken, let's say, in our community, who I greatly respect for their opinion and what they have to say. So we're seeking the advice of individual. Yeah, I tried to find the best word, Marlon. We're trying to seek the best way and the best ideas from the community. Ultimately, the OSL doesn't really want to touch the profits all that much. We're thinking about multi-sigs, and if you have an idea at any time, ping one of the OSL members, and they'll make sure it gets forwarded to myself, to Kitch, who is also working on it, to Robo, to somebody, so that way we have another idea to add into the mix. We've already generated the images. It's just how the mint is going to happen and to where any minting fees might go. So we're literally right on the cusp. I did find a rejected generation. So give it a little space. However, I have to give a whole bunch of credit to our artist who did beautifully on creating wonderful layers to make these generations happen and look good. We're not allowing this one to go through because the glasses end up underneath the crown, obviously, but we have something somewhere to the tune of over 2,000 other images that are completely unique. And we do plan on holding some of them once we do get to the minting process for giveaways, and we're very excited to include them for giveaways for Crew 3, for general Twitter things, for Discord, what have you. And to wrap it around to cost a little bit, doing this will actually allow us to reduce just a little bit of spend on giveaway cost, aka reducing our spend overall. And that was my really lame way to try and transition to the cost of the OSL and why it matters every so often to us.
Is that my segue talk?
I think so. I think that's going to be our segue to you, Mike.
Perfect.
That was the segment.
Yeah, again, I'm Mike. I just want to take a few minutes to go over some of the details in the prospective budget we have for the upcoming proposal. Some of this info might be a little bit repetitive, as Tog, Water Spinner, and Robo just went over. A lot of the things I'm going to cover in over the last 30 minutes. So first, how do we create the budget? Typically, we use last budget as a guide to create our future budgets, and we have a call with the team at large to discuss the contents of the budget to make sure we're all on board with all the upcoming spends. Pretty similar to what I'm about to do right now. And from there, we vote as a team on the budget that will appear on Commonwealth. Would it be okay if I shared my screen? It'd be weird to talk about numbers.
Yeah, you should be able to. This will be our first time trying this.
All right.
All right. For those in the chat or watching or listening, you'll have to Mike's shared screen shows up as a separate little window. Go ahead and click on it. And it should make it bigger for you, so that way you can actually see numbers and Excel.
Cool. And you could see it, Todd?
Yep.
Great. Okay. So the budget is pretty similar to what we had last quarter, but there's some key facts or features that are changing. First and foremost, we've decided to try to move to a 6-month proposal this round. We've been considering this change for a few prop cycles, and we've listened to some community feedback, and we think it's time to make that switch as long as the community agrees at large. So we do intend to put a 6-month proposal up on Commonwealth to see how the community feels like that. Initially, we liked the 3-month proposal because it's very high touch. We get a lot of interaction with the community, but it seems to have settled down for the most part, and our spends are pretty regular, as well as the 6 months still gives us a lot of time to discuss with the community the things going on over that period and what's going to be coming up in the next period. So I'm going to try to go through a few of these sections and go over the changes that have happened, if any. So first, we have our staffing here. This one is pretty much the same. The only key difference here is we removed the multi-signer pay. The job for a multi-signer has got a lot easier over the last few months due to the addition of batch transactions. For those of you that are not aware, batch transaction allows you to send funds to multiple wallets in a single transaction. So a payroll cycle that might have taken 50 separate transactions to get everybody paid can be completed with just 10. So for transparency's sake, we try to keep like transactions together. So when we're doing this admin pay, we will pay all 17 admins on a single transaction, but we won't also include the content team. When you include too many teams in a single transaction, it becomes hard to read and hard to track without digging too hard. And in my opinion, transparency should not be, you shouldn't have to try that hard to get a transparent look at the numbers. Eventually, we hope to transition over to DAO, which will make the payroll payments even more streamlined, and it does not lose any of the transparency, with the UI with that. The next section is the website and budget. For the live chat here, we've switched to a new live chat company over these last 3 months. It's saving us quite a bit. I think anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 a year is being saved with our new live chat function. So that's pretty great. And we are pretty happy with the company we have switched over to. I don't know, how the community feels about it, but pretty exciting. The bot maintenance and hosting here, this spend is exactly the same as it was last time. This is things like Cosmobot and the APIs with Interblock, or some of the governance stuff done on Discord from King Super. This one is really helpful for our admins and for all the users, in my opinion. The software charge, this one has come down quite a bit as well. We are working on transitioning from our old hosting site, which was Google Workspace, to a new files and documentation system. Todd, do you remember the name? I think it's
So instead of utilizing Google Workspace, we are going to be moving to a own self-hosted, own in control, all data in control with Nextcloud. And that is actually thanks to Moons' knowledge, who's in the chat. So thank you very much, Moons, for educating us and helping us get things bootstrapped and started. It's going to take a little bit, but that spend will ultimately come down.
Yeah, and this spend has been accounted for to come down. So that would be about $300 a month, just switching over away from Google Workspace into our own little system. So here we have some. I used to kind of include this in bounties, which was like a catch-all for things that didn't have great lack of better words. I don't want the budget shouldn't be like 100 different line items. It becomes really cumbersome and hard to read. And Bounty was kind of a catch-all for things like this website development and the content creation. But I wanted to break that out because it is going to be more specific in these realms for our next prop cycle. So the web developer we have accounted for here is someone to help us on our alternate front end, which Tog alluded to, as well as our support site. So just having someone on the books on a semi-regular basis that is able to make those changes for us is something we really wanted to have over these next 6 months as we try to build out that material. And this website content creation, this is for the actual content needed to for these websites. So whether it be a video or a guide, translations, things of that matter, we have this little website content creation bucket. And this number here might be a little overestimate by maybe a few $100s if I had to guess, but we want to allow a little bit extra wiggle room in case there is maybe a new outpost on Osmosis and we want to build like a lot of content that month that might not be needed for the previous months. But it is in total, these two are less than what we had in our bounty section, if I remember correctly. So it is a little bit of a cut, nothing too extreme, but we do think it'll be a huge value add to the OSL. This next section is community engagement. So we have a community incentive program that's run across Telegram, Discord, and Reddit. So this is some funds that we use to build engagement with the community. So like this is, for example, this is somewhere the incentives would be used for like the Crew 3 rewards, or if we're doing a giveaway on the Twitter or a game or a contest on Discord. So this is just a good way to build community and give back to the community in different ways. And then this is the blog, the Osmosis community blog, which they displayed the website for earlier. So this is like to pay different writers to build content for that. And then public's goods. So this is, honestly, this is for me the most exciting thing that has happened over the last 3 months. I think it gives like a tangible benefit that you can see from the OSL. Users might not realize that this is a huge value add, but it's actually happening in the back end. They don't know that, the user experience would have been if, the OSL relayer wasn't running. So here we have the OSL relayer and the RPC node. Those are relatively small. It's about $250 a month for both of them. That amounts have been good. According to those teams, so we didn't really need to increase that, but so we should be good.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things there is like the cost relative to like the benefit is just kind of crazy. Like some of these things, entities will get paid like tens of thousands of dollars to do, and you can see like we've kind of cut costs to the bare minimum, just to kind of we're not seeking to profit off of this activity. We're literally just cutting down bare bones to cost to provide this service for the community.
And quickly, Marlon, that's a great question. As somebody who is technically under the payroll as am I coming through as a robot? I'm sorry, guys. You're going to have to answer the with the streaming
Yeah, Tog, you're kind of breaking up. But were you asking? Were you answering Marlon's question, or is there something I could answer for you? On maybe just kind of type it in there, and I can help get that answered for you. All right. Well, while I'm waiting for answer Marlon. Okay. Yeah. So Marlon asked a great question. What's the difference between the content managers and the community updates writers? They effectively aren't related at all. The writers basically write content for the blog, and these you know sorry basically they're not related. The content managers help handle all of our social media content. They help put together like tweets and coordinate like our metrics posts and manage the content calendar and things like that. So it's really related to like the OSL Twitter, the Osmosis Community Updates Twitter, and all the work that goes behind getting consistent content out with that, including amplification of the content that we put out on the blog. And all the content writers are doing, or the community updates writers are doing, is they're just submitting articles to the blog to be edited and published, and then amplified by the Twitter. And I think that kind of takes us to the end. I'm just curious to see if we have any questions. One of the kind of exciting things that I'm seeing here that I haven't seen in like past OSL town halls is we have quite a few validators joining us today. And I hate to put you guys on the spot, but I appreciate you, Galadrin, for coming by with Crow's Nest, White Marlin, of course, Boob Cactus with Zenith Station. Dan is here from Strangelove. And I'm just curious to see if any of you have any questions that we can help answer in advance of this proposal going on Commonwealth. But of course, this is open to anyone. Please feel free to come up and ask any questions that you have. I see a few people typing in chat, so I'll give them a minute here. Darius, that's a great question. And Cold Chain, do you mind if I put you on the spot here to answer this question? I would normally lean on Tog for this, but he's having some mic issues.
How do I sound now?
You sound better. You sound better.
Great. It was the screen share. Discord wanted the resources that OBS wanted. So to answer your question, for example, Zenith Station, since I actually am a part of that as well, we actually run bare metal. We own, actually, Boob Cactus owns the hardware required for running the Osmosis node that we have. So we have no costs but electricity on that part. And storage and new hardware, but we were fortunate that Boob Cactus already had a lot of the hardware. In terms of running a RPC node, Coldy, I'm going to have to lean on you on your average costs if you are to requisition from a provider, because I have no clue. There we go. Should be able to come up now, I think. Robo, help.
Yeah. Technical difficulties. 1 second. There we go. I think.
Goldie, work out your life, please.
It says he's a speaker.
Okay,
there we go.
There we go.
We got him.
Now can we hear him? That's the important part. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Are you having trouble speaking, Goldie?
We'll do it live. That's our motto here. So
Good job,
Darius,
Darius and Venus. Yes.
Darius, I understand where your cost is coming from. Depending on which provider you go with for like a cloud provider, either AWS or Google Cloud or Voltaire or something to that end, it's definitely going to cost you a little bit of money to run an RPC node. What's best and better for decentralization, obviously, is owning the hardware, but not everyone has that opportunity. And Coldy, who is part and parcel part of Interblock as well, who helps with Cosmos Shield. He has a more intimate knowledge of everything. But as he's typing up, we can definitely answer another question that someone has.
I think I saw Wiggle requested to speak a minute ago. Was that an accident, or maybe it was Pickle? You guys both have bad pet PFPs, so
Okay, so it was
your
Pickle.
names looked similar when it came up. It was Pickle. Okay, yeah.
Pickle, if you... Oh, was that an accident? It's okay. That's perfectly all right. Oh. We're exploring here. So if anyone else has any general questions on infrastructure, definitely Coldy can answer. And honestly, we can get you answers. Any question, Pickle, anything about us, you can ask us anything within reason.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity, you guys, to answer, to get us basically up live. Obviously, when the proposal goes on Commonwealth, we will, we'll be making ourselves available all over the place to answer them. But you've got us here, so this is a good opportunity to kind of drill us in advance of the prop going, or give us any kind of feedback. Marlon, with the caveat that this isn't necessarily the final number, we think we've got it pretty close. The funding request, I believe last quarter we asked for, I had just seen this at I believe close to 310,000 Osmo. So this cuts it, when you expand that to a semi-annual request, this cuts it down by, I believe, something like, Mike, would I be right to say something like 50,000 Osmo gets cut off this, or 40?
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly because we had the contingency fund was for 3 months. Like if our 3-month budget was around $355,000 USD value for 3 months last prop. This one would be closer to sorry, I'm trying to do the math here because I have it in six months. It'd be around like 295,000 for the 3 months. Our total ask, if Osmo's price does not change, would be like 596,000 Osmo. So it would be, your number sounded pretty right, Robo. But everything's not the same. So like the Osmo USD value might have been different at the time when we wrote last prop. So there, it's not like a apples to apples kind of comparison. That's why I sometimes like to look at it from a USD value, even though the community pools in Osmo. But yeah, I can get you the exact number. I'll type it in the chat for you.
It is a good question,
Perfect.
Marlon, though. I know that with this proposal, we're trying to keep not only the, emotional number in mind. So like if you think about it, Marlon, think about a 6-month prop at around $500,000 in general. it fits that niche of, kind of fitting into a good puzzle slot, but we're also trying to weigh our actual needs, and where we've really cut, we have tried our best in this proposal, and you will definitely get a final number when we can get on to Commonwealth, but in all actuality, it's probably not going to balloon over to 700,000, and it's definitely not going to be less than 500,000 in US dollars. So I could probably confidently say it's not going to be over like 650,000, but that depends on what the price of Osmo does. So
Yeah, it's just kind of a timing thing. That's always sort of been the issue with this. And as we've been sitting here speaking, the price of Osmo has dipped down to 98 cents.
We depegged, friends.
Stable coin status lost.
Again.
We'll just we'll have a better estimate when the Commonwealth goes live, which I believe we're targeting now with the Prop 348, I believe, that just passed or is in the process of passing. Will raise the community pool spend discussion requirement to 7 days. So we're doing our best to get this out, here by, ideally end of month or, very, very early March.
I'm really loving the discussion happening in the chat about validators and how hard or easy it is to run a node. And to be honest, that's kind of where, Zenith Station wouldn't necessarily, I'm speaking from personal experience, Zenith Station wouldn't exist without the support and guidance from Coldy, Felix, and Interblock in general, which is, a strong testament to their dedication of teaching people, which is great, which is why the OSL does rely on, Coldy and Crypto Assassin even, who has a ton of knowledge and runs a ton of validators across different chains. And we are in a fortunate position that we have access to everyone. We know who to ask questions of right now, especially within the community. And if you ever feel like you want to explore or reach out to the OSL, and we might be able to connect you in who can help you get your feet wet or off the ground or what have you. We're a community run organization, and our duty is to everyone here. So if you ever have something that you think the OSL could be doing better or differently, don't be afraid. We literally look at every piece of feedback, and it generally causes a 4 to 8 hour discussion for every comment made, even if it's offhand. Not gonna lie. We are constantly talking to each other about what the community is saying. For example, when Robo ran into the Telegram chat the other day asking for their schedule because Lewis of Zenith Station asked to see a schedule, that prompted a whole bunch of discussion the other week. We are constantly, all 20 some odd of us are constantly talking with each other on how to do things better or differently or more efficiently. So the main story is we're approachable. I would like to remind everyone, you can DM if DMs are open, or you can request for a DM or just talk. You can even hit people up in a chat, or here in Discord, or reply or DM on Twitter. Just make it sound like you're a human, please, because we also do get a lot of silly bots.
Yeah. Just to echo that, we're here for you guys. We're here for the community. So, please DM us for anything. And we're happy to help you out.
And if we don't know the answer, you sure as hell can be confident that we will find someone who can answer things for you.
Does anyone have any questions that are not related to Starlink?
Elon Musk makes it into every conversation in crypto these days.
Hope you are
There's
human.
only one non-human, and that's Robo.
Yeah, I'm definitively a robot, as you can
True.
see from my profile picture.
That's a good profile
Boris,
picture.
I saw that you just requested to speak, Boris. Did you want to come up, or was that an accident? Yeah. All right, Boris, I think you are up to speak.
Yeah, my bad.
Oh, was that a mistake?
I think that might have been a mistake. Yeah. Okay. All right, we're gonna send you back down to the audience.
And Kilo, we know you're a protected species. Blah 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 blah. We're still holding your bamboo for ransom. Just saying. Of course. And if you ever want to know more about what's going on, we'll make sure that we're already working on making sure that you can have a singular source of truth without having to ask all of the time. And we are making sure that one of our goals still is to make sure that someone is around in pretty much any place there's an osmosis community that can answer a question or at least be available. 24/7 is a little hard to justify in the bare times, but I think with what else we're doing, we definitely are filling our time with a whole bunch of other things.
Am I okay? I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Well, I think if we don't have any other questions, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. But this is just a reminder that if anyone has additional questions, feel free to DM any of us or shoot us a message in Discord, Telegram, wherever. We're happy to answer any and all questions, both publicly and privately. So, more than welcome to do that.
Right. And if you think that the OSL can also work on sharing knowledge about running nodes and validators, let us know too. Hit us up somewhere. We will add it to our ever-growing list of guides and things to work on.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming on today. Again, really appreciate the validators coming on as well. It's a nice change to see that from previous proposal cycles. So I appreciate everyone that's come out to participate and